doing, friends? Good, I hope. Didn't get to work at all today. The humidity, which I knew when I went to bed last night, I checked it, it was 15%. I got up on the mountain at 3:20 this morning. It was 23%, and at 4:30 it was still only 24%. So didn't get to work at all, but figured we'd take this opportunity, do another story time. It seems to be that everybody seems to like it quite a bit. When I first started doing it, I could see that people liked it, but I didn't want to do it too much. You know, and kind of keep it fresh, but you know, it seems like everybody likes the videos and everything. The drone videos are getting a lot of positive feedback, but I'm still getting a lot of more story time. So I figure if I do it this way, if something happens and I get busy like I did that one week and I just was not able to get any videos out, I'll have some backpiled, you know, and I can put them out. So this one's about a young gentleman that my boss hired, and he was telling me, oh, this guy's such a hot rod, you know, and he was only like 23 or 24 years old, and he was a hook tender and a timber faller, and oh man, he goes, he's a hot rod. Application is impressive. I'm the type of person that believes that I can put anything you want down on paper. I can tell you anything you want to hear on paper. So he's going to put him over on my side as a rigging slinger. We'd run 2 slingers for a few days, see how things go, and then his master plan was to put him tendon hook on another yarder that we were having trouble with the hook tender on. So the guy shows up first day, he's talking to him and everything. He goes over and gets in the crummy, and the boss, he's just excited. I mean, he's got a grin on him from ear to ear. He's a cute little kid, I think there's a lot of it. But he goes, well, make sure, you know, you get in tonight, I want to know how he was. And I go, you know what, I've always told you, the first week, I'm not going to give you an honest opinion, because you won't really know what that person is really like till their second week. Their first day, they're going to give you everything they've got. You know, so the second week, you're actually getting the person and how they work and all that. So I go, you know that's how I feel. Plus, I can tell you right now, he's worthless. And the boss gets all upset in Twitter page. What makes you think that? I go, did you see the cork boots he was hanging on to? Well, I didn't pay attention to them. I go, well, they're about 4 years old. Leathers are completely wore out. The heels are rolled over. There's holes in the leather. And the corks are dull. And about half of them are missing. And he says, well, what makes you think that that's going to make him worthless? I go, Tim, we work at least 9 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's mandatory for your sides. My side works 10, 11, if we're making a road change, 6 days a week. Any guy that spends that much time on his feet year-round is going to have good footwear. I don't care what job you're in. You go down here to the restaurant and Sweet Betty is packing pancakes out to you. She's wearing comfortable shoes. You know why? Because she's on her feet. So first day, he didn't do anything wrong, but for being his first day, he wasn't going above and beyond to really put the impressment on me. misses. Imagine that. Well, that's why your boots are wore out and crappy, and listening to him why he quit this guy, and yeah, I was cutting for this guy with this and this and that, and I'm so much better than that, man. I would have attended hook for this guy, you know, but everything he was saying was every time he come up against adversity, he bailed. So he misses his third day. That's why your boots are wore out. And you're not working enough to afford a damn good pair of boots. Start into the second week, and you know, every day the bosses ask me, what do you think, what do you think, what do you think? So I'm not impressed. He's not a hook tender. I guarantee you he's not a hook tender. He can barely pull rigging. And, you know, he just, the things he does, and we were in a thin, and it was a nice thin. We had good lift, no reason to have any corridor damage at all. And he's just scarring the heck out of these trees. So, you know, I told him, I said, well, you know, you're the owner. It's, in the end, it's your decision, but I wouldn't put him to 10 hook. Well, he does. So they take it was a TMY50, and go up on this clear cut. Gonna rig it up on this clear cut. It's a downhill piece. Gonna be hung out there quite a ways. First day, get in there, rig the yarder up. Did not get the layout finished in May. I don't know. It might be. I am not there. I can guarantee you I would have had it in the air, but I'm not there to judge this person. So, second 9-hour day, Skyline is still not in the air. Third day, they started to run the layout around and whatnot. Broke the haywire a couple of times because everything was pulling so hard. And then something happened to for some reason they had to come in. So 3 days they didn't get the Skyline up. So my boss calls me that night, or when I got into the shop, I said, okay, you know, we're ready for a lowboy tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. He had his own lowboy. He goes, I'm not going to move your yarder tomorrow. Why not? He goes, I want you to take you and a couple of your guys, I don't care which ones you pick, go up there on the 50 with Bill and that kid and his crew and get that Skyline in the air. And I'm like, what? So we get there, and what a train wreck. I mean, what an absolute train wreck. He hung back there, and he had to. It was a clear cut, but he had to go back into some standing timber, you know, to tail hold. He was going to have the haul back on. And he was burning when he put his blocks. You know, you want your line, whether it be haywire, haul back, whatever, to be free of obstacles. You're going to hit trees, rub them, but when you're burning on a tree, that's why they kept breaking the haywire, because it was pulling so hard. And then once it would get to moving, when it come up to the eye, because it's digging into the tree, it was popping the knots and breaking the haywire. So I had to redo his whole back end, plus the tree that he was going to hang the Skyline on. I said, so you got plans of getting coils back to tie this back when we get it in the air, or? And he's like, oh no, no, there's no need to tie that back. And it was about a 2.5 foot tree, you know, pretty nice tree, but there's no way that on a downhill show on the slope that tree was on, it was going to stay in the ground. So we're spinning the haul back around. I called up and landing. I said, you guys got any extra coils up there? Which I knew they did, because I helped when he bought that yarder. They're like, yeah, how many ever, you know. So I told him, I said, okay, when you hook the hull back up to the Skyline to ship it back, I want you to hang 3 coils off the hull back. And he's like, what the hell would you do that for? And I go, well, we're going to tie this tree back, and that Skyline's coming all the way to the tree anyways, and we're going to have a lift all the way here. So this way, I can get the coils right to me, and while they're running the hull back in to put it on the car and hang it, the car to go to logging, we can be tying it back and be ready, rather than wait for it to go in, do all that stuff, pick it up, ship you coils out. We have to go down the hill 2 sections and then pack them all the way up here. I'm like, man, it's all about, it may seem like an extremely lazy move to make, as it was, but we're going to gain an hour and a half of logging, guaranteed. Get Skyline in the air, we only end up getting like a couple hours of logging out of the day. We get in that night, Tim's like, well, what do you think? And I'm like, I'm telling you right now, he's worthless. Absolutely worthless. I go, it was an absolute train wreck up there. I can't believe that, you know, he had it strung the way it was. Everything was fouled up, you know, the whole 9 yards. So he goes, well, what if we just put him to pulling rigging over on the little thinning yard? I go, well, I wouldn't put him as head rigger. You need a second guy over there, but I wouldn't give him the head rigger position. But sure enough, so Tim, the boss says, you know, call him in the office here. And so we call him in the office, and so Tim tells him, he's like, well, you know, after your performance the last couple of days, and Alex went up there and checked it out, and what's going on, and so on and so forth. He said, I really think that you embellished your application a little bit to just try to get the job. So if you'd like, we'll put you back to second rigger on that thinning side, but we're not going to give you the hooking job. He never came back. That's absolutely why I say do not lie about your experience, because if the person you're going to work for has anybody on their crew that has experience at all, or the person you're going to work for, they're gonna know within just a few minutes. It's cut and dry. And then if they don't know, you know, let's say they hire you into a hooking or pulling rigging position where the other guys don't know. So not only is production being put into your hands, but the safety of the guys on the crew. And if you don't know any better, that's when people get seriously hurt or killed, because you lied about your experience. Stay safe, get logs, friends.